Hey guys, welcome back. I'm here again with Ricardo from Kleenerly, and we're going to go over one of my favorite topics ever, which is inspections. So you'll hear me harp all over the place about inspect what you expect. So, the cleaning and the turnover is not complete until somebody else has gone through to inspect the work. The reasons for this is multiple, but the reality is cleaners have a very hard job. It's taking them a very long time. They get tired. They're going to miss stuff. That should be the expectation. Not that the cleaners are going to slack off, just that there's so much going on and there's such complexity here that there are going to be some inconsistencies, and so the inspectors do that. We depend on our cleaners to get us 85-90% of the way there, and then our inspectors go through, do the final touches, take it over the top, and make sure that as a team, as a family, the whole process went very, very smooth. So remember, cleaners are your friend. They're doing a hard job. Don't have a bad attitude as an inspector. When you find things that aren't great, just touch them up. So Ricardo, help me out here, man. Let's talk about the inspection process.
Absolutely. I mean, it's, as you said, it's one of the most important aspects and part of the turnover process, really. So what we always say is it's really a team effort, which you also mentioned. It's a team effort, and we say that. It's nobody's fighting against the other one. Right. We're not purposely giving bad feedback and pointing out items that were missed, or we're not coming up with things that are missed that were actually not missed. It's really something that we just want to give feedback on also to the cleaner. So we're doing an inspection for two reasons. For one reason is obviously to really get that property, get that vacation rental to 100% when it comes to cleaning quality and presentation. But also to give the cleaners and the housekeepers, as we call them, turnover specialists, good feedback so they can learn from that. And the way to do that is really use a checklist, of course. Yeah.
So we'll have several options. Ricardo's created one that we'll provide to you that has a room by room and a bit of a grading system. Very cool checklist, very cool. If you want a simpler one that just lists all the steps out, we'll have those available too. So you'll have several options. But Ricardo, let's go through, let's just start an inspection. We don't have to follow any specific checklist or anything. If you're trying to follow along, maybe find it there as we go. But let's just from our experience talk about how to perform an inspection. So, issue number one when you go in, we've stressed a ton to the cleaners to do the floors really well. Don't screw that up for them. So either take your shoes off, bring shoe covers, be aware that when you walk into even the foyer, you may need to take your shoes off or protect those floors. If it's raining or wet outside or you walk through sprinklers, even more important.
Absolutely. That's absolutely correct. So that is one of the first things that we always say, bring shoe covers. Yeah. Other things to bring is we always tell our inspectors, or whenever we do an inspection, we are prepared pretty much as the cleaner that goes into the turnover cleaning. Yeah. So we're basically having the same cleaning products on you. We have the same backpack with the same cleaning supplies on us. Because it can always be that really we have to touch up on any missed areas. So you want to be prepared for that. You don't want to run up and down, back and forth to your car, or even having to go back to the warehouse to pick up a vacuum or a mop. You want to have that on you. And as you walk through the unit doing your inspection, you can grab those cleaning products, you can grab that microfiber cloth, and you can go over those surfaces again.
Yeah, cool. All right, so the first thing that I do, and this helps me speed up and stay very, very organized, is I immediately go through all parts of the property, condo or house, turn on every light, and open every door and drawer. Now I do this all at once. I just kind of go through, I'm looking, keep alert at all times during an inspection, see if you notice anything. But what this does for me is twofold. One, going through all the rooms, turning the lights on so I have the ability to see everything, opening the drawers, seeing if there's any belongings that the cleaners missed or dirt or those sort of things. Also, since everything's open, when I start the actual inspection and I finish certain areas, all the lights go off, and I know that if the lights are off in a particular area, that I'm done. This is really important if you're trying to do 10, 11, 12 or more inspections in a given day. Give yourself ways to stay organized in a physical format. So you don't have to say, I didn't check off bedrooms. Well, if all the bedroom lights are off, you did your inspection in the bedrooms.
That's absolutely correct. Other things to also look for is right away the thermostat also. So you definitely want to make sure to set that at the right temperature, reasonable temperature. We covered that earlier, but something in between 65 heat and 75 cool, and you'll be fine, and you'll have the guests walk into a unit with a nice temperature.
Yeah. When you have all the light bulbs on, check for those. Obviously, you'll have extra light bulbs of various types in your backpacks or bins, whatever you took with you. So replace those as you go. And I say this in other videos, but we recommend going to a CFL or an LED light bulb, typically soft white, but whether it's soft white or sunlight, more of a bright white, make sure all the lights in a particular area match in color and warmth.
That's definitely important as well.
Yeah. So since you're checking all these light bulbs and you're in all these rooms, go ahead and also check for the minor maintenance items, your air filters as you walk by the AC closet. Make sure that they're changed at least once a month. Open it up, pull it out, doesn't take any time. We recommend keeping all extra air filters in the closet with the air handler, so you're not thinking about that. And it's not this, oh, it's dirty, I should change it, but I don't have an air filter. So you kick the can down the road. That can cause costly repairs. So if you keep half a dozen or so in the closet, when you use the last one, all you're reporting is, I used the last one, no big deal. The next inspector can bring another box. Not reporting, it was really dirty, I didn't change it. Good luck, next guests, right? That would be terrible.
That's great. Yeah.
Also check the TVs, make sure everything's plugged in, the remotes work, and all the batteries for the remotes are in place.
That's very important as well. And also another thing that I myself do immediately as I walk through during an inspection, I flush all of the toilets immediately.
Absolutely.
That's very important as well. I even turn on all the waters and all of the sinks to make sure the water is running.
Yes.
It wouldn't be anything worse for a guest to come into a unit and then there's no running water.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, as a next step, what you want to do is, as you walk through an inspection, as you go from room to room, there are certain inspection items that are the same and apply to every single room.
Right,
For
absolutely.
example, looking top to bottom, ceiling fans, for example, that applies to every single room. You want to check that. Look up. We always say that. Look up on ceiling fans. It's one of the most missed items. We'll go through that later on also, what the most missed items are and why we're actually doing an inspection. So stick with us for that.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
But as you're walking through the rooms, you also want to check for dust in general. Dusty surfaces, anything that's dusty that might need a touch-up, definitely look for that. In the bedroom, that's, for example, the headboard, any lampshades, light bulbs. You want to cover that as well as blinds. Blinds are usually in every single room as well. Check on blinds. Are they dusty? Are they clean? Just check on everything.
So you have a checklist there for a reason. We won't go through each line item because it is in every single room, but we recommend use the checklist. Even after thousands of inspections, that we've done, there's no way to just remember all of this stuff. And no matter how good you think you are as an inspector, please use the list. It's going to remind you, just by human nature, you're going to forget one or two details as you're rushing through your day.
Absolutely.
So follow the checklists. And so we recommend going room by room, starting at the very top or furthest part of the condo or house. So if it's a 3-story house, start in the furthest upstairs room, work your way back, turning off all the lights, making sure the blinds and all the staging's done on your way out. And again, following the checklist room by room, but as you leave rooms, make sure that the carpet, the lines for the vacuuming, the floors are touched up on your way out. So you're going to want to have your supply bag with you, and don't rush through this. I think you could probably speak volumes about this. It feels like it's taking a long time, but actually going slower as an inspector makes you go faster.
Absolutely. I mean, it will save you a ton of time. I mean, if you're doing a great job inspecting, it might take you an extra 5 or 10 minutes to really look under the bed, go on your knees, go into really actually every cabinet, open all of the drawers, and really be very detailed with that inspection. But then later on, that will save you a ton of time, because if after that inspection you still get a guest complaint, then you might have to come back. And we at Kleenerly, we do have a free comeback service. If there's really anything that fell through the cracks that we overlooked, then we have that service where we come back and where we touch up any missed items for free. So we want to avoid that at all costs, obviously. So we always tell our inspectors or ourselves, hey, let's just spend that extra 5 minutes or 10 minutes, be extra detailed, so we can avoid any misses and really make sure that this is a 100% guest-ready unit.
Absolutely. And, take it from me as a CEO of Real Joy Vacations, hundreds of units. We're in these units inspecting for a reason. We are property managers and property management companies. So don't go into this inspection job and do it halfway. you're doing the property managers a disservice, you're doing your owners a disservice, the guests are going to be unsatisfied, and quite honestly, you're going to spend about as much time doing a half-baked job as you would just doing the whole thing. So, if you find yourself in this attitude of not wanting to, check under the beds and not wanting to do that one little half step, you may need to take a day off or something along those lines and recollect yourself, or take a break, get some food, get some water, because if you do a bad job, you're still taking all the time and energy that you would to do a good job. So follow the checklists, go room by room, take this seriously, and really understand that this process is so critical to that final aha moment or wow moment when the guest shows up.
It's everything, absolutely.
I mean, seriously, Ricardo mentions it, the way the blinds are staged based on the time of day and the seasons and, the air temperature and all these sort of things, the lines and the carpets. When they walk in, you're going to save yourself a ton of time and complaints just because the presentation was fantastic. They'll be a lot more forgiving if you do all these steps right. And quite honestly, if you're on call, which a lot of inspectors are, if you do this right, you won't be up at 11, 12 at night going and fixing something.
Absolutely. That's absolutely correct. So go room by room as you walk through an inspection, as you perform an inspection. And what are the things that we're always looking for in a bathroom, for example? The things that we're looking for is immediately we open up the shower curtain and we look on the walls, on the shower walls immediately. We constantly run into units where it's either not dried off, you see the watermarks, and you'll have to touch those up. You can't just leave the watermarks there. So that's something to immediately touch up. Things that are also missed there is the chrome. It might be streaky, the handles in the shower. Make sure that it's really shiny. That's very, very important. The guests have to see themselves in there almost like in a mirror. So we always say that. And then also the toilet, obviously. Definitely make sure to lift the toilet lid, look inside of the toilet. On the sides, that's one of the most missed items as well. Sides of the toilets are very important. The sink, same thing again. Make sure that there's no streaks, no soap scum, no hairs, especially no hairs in there. The mirror, that it's shiny, that basically everything is spotless, really. And go on your knees. Also check the floors. That's very important as well. The bath mats, make sure make sure that there's no hairs caught in there as well.
And then count the linens. Make sure there's an adequate number of linens, towels, washcloths, hand towels for each guest based on the requirements of the property manager or the property owner. It's going to vary, but we covered minimum of 2 bath towels per guest, 1 hand towel, 1 face cloth per guest. Should be enough. So you should know how many people that unit sleeps, and so just quickly count those linens and save yourself a disaster later.
That's very important.
Be sure, don't just, I'm guilty of this is why I'm bringing this up. Don't just open the cabinets where the linens are stored and say, what the heck, there's only 4 towels in this huge, part of the house. They're probably on beds, hanging on the towel racks, all those sort of things. You got to count those too.
Absolutely.
I know it must be a Marine Corps thing. I just figured they'd all be stacked easy for me to count or something. I don't know. But they're going to be spread throughout the unit, staged. Those count as well.
Exactly. Also, what we run into every now and then as well, especially with in-unit laundry, the problem is that maybe the turnover specialist, the cleaner, were rushed. They maybe took out the linen a little bit too early, the towels. So make sure you touch them a little bit. You feel them out and make sure that they're really completely dry. As they're hung over the towel rack or the towel ring, just touch them quickly, make sure they're really 100% dry.
Yeah, and in the bedrooms too, lift up the comforter,
yes.
Touch the sheets and make sure that they're not damp because they will mold, if they don't get air. So.
It will also be not a comfortable feeling if guests get into the bed and it's still a little bit wet. So
that's they can't dry at all under the comforter. So don't hope that a damp sheet's going to dry miraculously in 3 hours.
Absolutely.
Under that comforter. So.
Very important thing to check for.
So another big area that we need to cover a little bit in more detail, just to kind of explain the checklist, is the kitchen. And you're like the kitchen guy. Like I know you do the toilet thing. You're king of the throne. So
it's my favorite. Yes.
Yeah, but kitchens as well. I think you can really help us explain why we do kitchens and touch on some of the things that are important in the inspection.
Absolutely. So during a kitchen inspection, we want to make sure again to look top to bottom, look on the kitchen fronts. That's very important that there's no tomato sauce spills or anything like that. Make sure to check all of the appliances, check for the refrigerator, top to bottom again. And here, again, very important, the top. I know that some of our team members are a little bit too short. It could be a problem with size. So the top of the refrigerator always gets missed. And I see myself always touching up on the top of the refrigerator. But that's also something that guests frequently complain about, that there's just too much dust on the refrigerator, and then they might think that the whole refrigerator was not cleaned. So check for that. Specifically, make sure that the front of the refrigerator is all shiny, the chrome, the stainless steel. There's no fingerprints. It's not streaky. Open it up with a microfiber cloth. Anything that you touch, really, where you would leave a fingerprint as an inspector, make sure that you touch it either with a glove or with a microfiber cloth. So open up the refrigerator, make sure that there was nothing missed in there, there's no hair in there, no crumbs in there. Open up all of the drawers in there as well. Look in all of the compartments and make sure it's really 100% clean and guest ready as well. And the same goes for the oven as well. Same principle. Open up the oven, check for the same cleaning items, make sure it's 100% clean, and we'll show you some pictures also of paper towels that we ran through the oven, and then it came back all black. So
check out that video. It's cool. The most commonly missed things or often missed things. And then finally, in the kitchen, and I deal with a lot of owners, so I know how important this is to them. The arrangement of the dishes under the countertops and in the cabinets is very important. Owners expect that to be organized, and you're going to want to count briefly as well. Through a deep clean, you'll do an inventory, but every turn, just kind of take a look. If it is a place that sleeps 12, does it have 12 plates? If not, be sure to report that. And make sure everything is organized. Pans and pots get stacked largest to smallest on each other. Plates of certain sizes together, cups all in a line. You'll see pictures of that and throughout the presentation, and make sure that happens. It's just really that final touch that keeps a kitchen from looking dirty, because cluttered pots and pans look like they haven't been washed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, after you check for all of the cleaning items, exactly, you look for staging as well. The small kitchen appliances are very important as well. Lift them up, make sure that there's no breadcrumbs underneath. If there's any decoration in the kitchen also, make sure that that is nicely dusted as well and nicely presented. If there's any restocking items, you might leave some snacks, or the property managers or the homeowners, they might leave some snacks there. Make sure that is nicely nicely staged as well and presented. And then also, what's very important as well, check under the sink also. Again, if there's maybe a leak that's coming from the sink, that's also very important, and make sure that there's enough trash bags as well, and anything else that needs to be restocked in the unit has to be checked as well. So that's another thing that we'll have to look for, and that we always look for as well as we go through our inspection checklist, is checking for those guest supplies that we actually left the right amounts as well.
And included in the guest supplies would be things like parking pass, wristbands, key fobs, Wi-Fi code, placards, anything of that sort, instructions, review forms, etc. Going to want to make sure that those are in the unit in their designated spaces, and enough of them are there. And again, that's going to be property specific, so refer to your checklist for that property and get to know those things, but don't forget them.
Absolutely.
Also, be sure to check the dryer, and if anything was left, the washing machine should be left open so that it can dry out, because it likely won't get used for several days when the guest arrives. And so open the washer, check and see if there are any items in there. Check in the dryer, make sure everything is out of there as well. The lint trap has been cleaned, all those sort of things.
Yeah, lint trap is a big one.
Yeah. So how do we exit the unit? You're a ninja at this, so tell me how you visualize and how you finish the inspection.
Absolutely. So what we now have to check for is obviously the floors that we already checked as we went from room to room. Of course, we want to inspect the floors as well, just to have a final look on all of the floors, specifically baseboards as well. Make sure that there's no dust. Just go over that to be on the safe side with a microfiber cloth. It can be a little bit damp to catch all of the dust that might be on those baseboards. Go over that as well, and then as you finish the inspection, just visualize or see yourself as the guest that is going to enter this vacation rental. Just get yourself in that mindset, and as you scan through the rooms, just imagine yourself, okay, what is that going to look like for the guests? Will that be a great guest experience? Will that be nice staging? Will that presentation feel good? Is there a nice smell in the air as well?
Mm-hmm.
Does the unit just look very nice
Mm-hmm.
and nicely presented overall? So just try to look through that unit with those guest eyes as you leave the unit, and make sure that it really looks good, feels good, smells good, and that you're sure that it will be a great guest experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, so this wraps up the inspection side of the cleaning and turnover process. It's very, very important. You may want to, and I know you actually train your inspectors as cleaners first. So, hopefully if you're an inspector and you've made it to this video and you continue on in that job, you have some experience with cleaning so that you understand how much work goes into that, all those various processes. It's going to make you a better inspector. And we cover so much in those videos that's going to help you quickly get through an inspection. So be sure to check those out. And we'll see Ricardo in the next videos as we cover the commonly missed items and some other fun stuff with processes and those sort of things. So check those videos out, and we'll see you there.
See you there.